Hey guys, this is Michael the Comic Nerd with the MTCN review team. I am a little tired right now, which is why I'm kind of stuttering really fast. Now, as you can tell, obviously we have a few differences. The main difference today, as in for the first time since we started this show, there's nobody with me. So, yeah, I tried. Like, I pretty much like called and texted just almost everybody except for the people I knew would not be able to do it. And tried to get him to join me tonight. I couldn't get anyone, so I was like, fuck it, I'll do it myself. So here I am, which means since I'm alone, there's probably going to be less banter unless you include the banter that I do in my own head that sometimes verbalized into what can possibly proceed as multiple personality disorder, but that's a topic for another day. It does mean we'll probably end up actually talking about the movie, so it might be refreshing from that standpoint. I don't know, we'll give it a shot. I haven't done this, since before we started the MTCN review team, so, it's gonna be refreshing. So anyway, back to the topic at hand. I just got out of, Prison Break. I almost forgot the damn movie I just got out of. Prison Break, which is a new action movie with Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is like their big movie together since Expendables 2, which is actually almost entirely about those two characters. I don't really want to call them characters, but I'll get into that. It's basically the Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger we wanted about 10 years ago that we're kind of getting now, but you know what? Despite the fact that these guys are really showing their age, this is actually a pretty fun fucking movie. I actually had a lot of fun with this. I really enjoyed it for what it was. Is it perfect? No. But at the same time, it's actually more than what you wanted out of a Sylvester Stallone or Schwarzenegger movie, in that the script is actually pretty smart in the way it's executed. Not so much in like terms of character development or anything like that, because that's really was the shitty part of the movie, but just in the way the plot is developed and the way everything is kind of explained. Because honestly, a movie's called Prison Break. What do you think it's about? I mean, so like there's a lot of ways where Stallone kind of explains how he sees like prisons, how they work, the protocol they use, and he shows like how they have routines or how he can do this to do. It's all very well thought out in how he's going to escape from the prison. So I guess to go over the story a little bit with this, and should I like put this on the dash anyway? I feel like this is way too close to my face. Maybe I'll just put it like right. Oh, there we go. That'll work. So I'm just gonna move my fuzzy die, my companion cube fuzzy die. So, the movie starts with Sylvester Stallone. He's in a maximum security prison, and again, it starts off right away where it shows like how he kind of breaks out of a maximum security prison. And again, it's a lot of fun to watch, and it's very creatively done, and it's smartly handled. I guess there's not much more to say about that than that. So, long story short, and spoilers, obviously, although you should know this about the story by now, which is that turns out Sylvester Stallone, after escaping from the prison, it's revealed that he basically does this for a living. That he, for reasons that are explained later in the movie, Sylvester Stallone decides he wants to break out of jails for a living to expose their weaknesses, pretty much, in an attempt to basically make the eventually like fix all the flaws in the prison system and get like the ultimate escape-proof prison. And that opportunity to kind of test the ideal prison comes along after he gets back into the real world with black tech guy and sassy blonde kind of sort of love interest. I don't know their names. Like, that's really the weakest part of the movie, is like their characters are really just shallow. There's really not much attempt to develop them, except for one who, he wasn't developed much, but I loved watching him so much because he was just having a goddamn fun time with it. But I'll get to him in a bit. And so when he gets back into the real world, he has his like banter. We introduce the other characters, and his boss, whose really only defining characteristic is that he rubs Purell in his hands all the time and he wears a white hat. That's really all there is to him. But he's the boss, and of course he's the greedy corporate guy who gets a he gets a job opportunity from the FBI, and they work for the Federal Bureau of Prisons, which, is that a thing? I don't know. I gotta take care of something real quick, but I'll be right back in like 5 seconds. Sorry about that. Where was I? Yes. So right, I was at the white hat guy. So, what happens is he gets a job opportunity from the FBI, I think it is, or what they're calling themselves, the FBI. And basically, this woman comes up to Stallone and says, "We have this new privately funded prison that's supposedly unbreakable, and we want you to test it. But you have basically to throw all your other protocols out the window," which he kind of reluctantly agrees to. And then that's pretty much where the rest of the story goes. At that point, you can kind of predict where it's going to go. So I'm not sure how much time I want to waste on it necessarily. So, like, of course, he goes to the prison. He finds that it's different than any other prison he's done. He runs into Arnold Schwarzenegger, who takes to him very quickly, and quite frankly, has some very confusing dialogue at the beginning. But, and then they kind of form their own little partnership, and they progressively work together with the help of that evil Arab dude from Iron Man and the archaeologist from Jurassic Park, or whatever the hell you call the dinosaur people. But, yeah, so the guy from Jurassic Park plays a doctor, and he kind of helps him out towards the end after being constantly reminded of his Hippocratic Oath and all that shit. This is actually a pretty short video, because I don't really know what else to say about this. Basically, the most fun of the movie is watching how, like, Stallone kind of figures out how to get out of the prison, and watching him work with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And they do work very well together. They are a lot of fun to watch. And, of course, you have the inevitable Arnold Schwarzenegger and Stallone fight, which is unfortunately very brief. It's only used as a distraction to get into the box. The box, in this case, being, like, the isolation units, except instead of just being a cold, dark room, it's actually a room with insanely bright lights to, like, blind Stallone, so he can't really see get any major details of what's in the room, which I thought was actually pretty clever. Like, there's a lot of clever things in this movie, just how in the way that this new prison is run by a guy named Hobbs, who's the warden, and he's basically read Stallone's book that he wrote about prisons, and that's basically how he took that as, like, a guideline for how to make the ultimate prison. And, again, a lot of stuff here is clever, and I still see more of it coming. Like, the thing with Schwarzenegger's character is that the warden, Hobbs, who's played by the guy from Person of Interest, the main guy. I don't remember his name, I just know that he was my first choice for Batman instead of Ben Affleck, although I'm not as opposed to Ben Affleck as much as everyone else is, but that's a whole nother topic. And, by the way, he's so fucking fun to watch in this, but I'll get to him. But I guess he wants information out of Schwarzenegger to find, like, the location of some, like, crime boss or something like that, who's, like, big time money, who's about to screw over all the banks, something like that. Meanwhile, it turns out when Stallone gets there that he's been set up, and they basically want to keep him down there forever, or at least his boss does, for kind of stupid reasons, but whatever. And what happens is, I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. So what happens is Stallone realizes he's been set up, and he's still trying to figure out a way to escape. So he's constantly looking around the prison, like, looking for routines, looking for setups, and trying to figure out, like, the best course of action. And the way it's all executed, a lot of it's visual, too, and it's very nice, like, visual animations, like, how, like, the prison transforms into, like, a blueprint, and you see from that perspective, and all the diagrams that they show as Stallone talks through narration about, okay, that was weird, about how he's going to escape, or how they're doing this or that, or, like, how, like, Schwarzenegger and Stallone are giving code names to, like, the guards so they can easily identify him. Like, they call one guard Duck because he kind of walks like a duck from back to forth, and they call one guy, like, scratches his neck, like, syphilis or something, like, some kind of STD, or some kind of disease, I don't know, doesn't matter. But and it's stuff like that. It's really fun to watch. It's like the Italian Job kind of, and like a large part fun of the movie is watching how the characters like plan it out and how they execute it, and all that's really fun. Like one of the twists, again, I thought this was clever, was that, spoiler, it turns out like the whole prison isn't anywhere specifically. It's on a like a giant big fucking cargo ship. And I kind of immediately spotted like a plot hole with this whole thing, which is like, what happens is, Schwarzenegger basically gets Hobbs alone and basically makes fun of him so he can get like a little piece of metal for Stallone. Then Stallone uses that piece of metal in the box with all the lights pouring down you, because that gets really fucking hot in the room, to like make the steel bolts on one of the panels pop off, which leads to a ladder conveniently, which he can use to climb to the surface. Now when he gets there, he discovers it basically discovers that the whole thing is on a big fucking cargo ship, and really there's not many guards on the top of the deck, and you can very clearly see a fucking lifeboat in the background. So my first thought is, why not just take the lifeboat and go? Why stick around? Why not just go that? Why do you have to come with a more elaborate scheme? Why can't you just take the lifeboat? I guess you can make a few arguments here that he didn't know exactly where he was, so he'd basically be kind of flying blind, which is one reason. Another reason you could say was because he wanted to go back for Schwarzenegger's character, because he'd agreed to let him get him out, which is also valid. And so I guess you can argue from that point. So they come up with a much more elaborate plan to get everybody out, and again, the execution is very fun to watch. Now, I want to talk about the main villain in the movie here, because, oh my god, he was easily, like, the best part of the movie. It's played by the guy who played the main star and person of interest. I wish I knew his name. Someone say in the comments what his name is, because I know somebody who's watching this knows it. So he's having such a good fucking time playing this just straight up evil warden character, and he's just having so much fun fucking with all the stars and stuff like that. Like, he has the best lines in the movie, he has the most fun in the movie. The one thing I was disappointed at is that he doesn't get to fight Stallone, which doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it's like, do they watch Person of Interest when they cast him? Because we all know this guy can fight. So why isn't he fighting Stallone? Why do we have some random bald guard fighting him instead of him? He's a fucking awesome. He can kick all kinds of ass. Why aren't they fighting? That's a fight I want to fucking see. Not Stallone versus bald dude, or Stallone versus other random dudes who really don't matter, or very brief Arnold Schwarzenegger fight. And it's like, just let him fight somebody. He doesn't fight anybody in this, which is disappointing. It's like, dude, I would love to see him kick some ass against Stallone or Schwarzenegger. That'd be fucking awesome. But no, we don't get that. We do get to. He does easily have the most fun lines, though. He's probably the most fun part of the movie. It's almost worth checking, at least renting, just to see his performance, because I really fucking enjoyed it. Other than that, though, it's just a fun movie. Like, I'm realizing how, like, handicapped I am without somebody else in the car right now. But, I can hold my own. But it's just a fun movie. It's a really fun action movie that's smarter than it deserves to be frank, with some fun performances, some fun chemistry. The main flaw of the movie is, and this should not be that surprising to any Stallone or Schwarzenegger fan, is that the characters are really fucking shallow. Like, they try to, like, develop Schwarzenegger's and Stallone's relationship at one point, because what happens is, after Hobbs discovers that... See, notice how Hobbs is the only character name I remember. And he realizes what kind of Stallone is doing with the bolts and all that shit, and he basically makes a point. He calls up Stallone's boss, and basically says, keep him buried there and break him. So is there like a montage of guards waking him up every night and just torturing the shit out of him. And by the way, there's some brutal fucking torture. I wouldn't say brutal, but there's some really kind of disturbing, like, torture in this movie, too, which is kind of weird. Like, there's a part where Hobbs, like, kind of waterboards Schwarzenegger, and I don't know, even I got a little uncomfortable with that, and it kind of takes a lot to rattle me, but it's... I don't know. I got a little uncomfortable. And there was somebody here that brought their fucking 4-year-old child to the movie theater. And I have to wonder, why would you bring your 4-year-old to a R-rated Schwarzenegger Stallone flick? What was the thought process here? Why? Why would you do that? And of course he's gonna talk through the whole fucking movie. He's fucking 4. Why are you taking to the... Sorry. Even alone, I still get angry. But I just... Why would you bring a 4-year-old to this movie? I don't get that. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball 2 is still plain. It's stupid and it's terrible, but it's still plain. There are kid movies out there you can go take them to see now. Not this really inappropriate for their age movie. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway. Rant time over. Anyway, back to the good parts of the movie is right, I was talking about the montage. So there's a montage where Stallone is trying to be broken by the guards, and you could have easily focused a solid half hour on the Stallone. They kind of condensed it down to 10 minutes. It was disappointing. It's basically a montage of Stallone getting beaten up and Schwarzenegger saying, "Don't give up, don't give up." And then, the Austrian accent that's awesome. By the way, we actually get to see Schwarzenegger speak an Austrian, in his native tongue in this movie, which is actually kind of cool in a weird way, because I don't think I've ever seen that before. But, that's all there is to it. You could have easily spent a half hour developing that relationship and how, Schwarzenegger kind of brings him back to reality and how brings back the escape plan. But no, we don't get that. Just very brief, very rushed section of the movie so we can get back to the plan on how to escape. Which, again, is fun, but it would have been nice if we got some good characters to match up with the intelligent escape plan. But we don't get that, unfortunately. Now, I'm not going to say I was surprised this was the case, because I wasn't. It's a Stallone Schwarzenegger flick. You know what you're getting into. But at the same time, so it did have such a surprising, intelligent script that I kind of wish the characters were there to kind of match it a little more than they did. But, that's pretty much it. There's a lot of fun little one-liners. Of course, they had to have the Arnold Schwarzenegger one-liner in there, which was, I think, it was right after they finally escape from the ship, and they're on a helicopter flying away, and Stallone just blew up Hobbs by explaining a bunch of barrels without fighting him, which I still don't get why they didn't do. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger looks, and then after he just kicks all kinds of ass, and one of the most fun sections of the movie with a giant fucking machine gun, because of course it's almost like an Arnold Schwarzenegger bylaw that he has to shoot everybody with a giant fucking machine gun at some point during the movie. And we have that, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger looks like, "Have a nice day, asshole," or something like that. It was kind of stupid, but I laughed, and I enjoy that level of cheese, so I was okay with it. And then oddly enough, the one that I liked better came afterwards was when Stallone gets out and he realizes his boss set him up because he wanted to be CEO of the prison, and that would only be the case if it was discovered to be escape-proof, which was stupid. But there's a part where the black tech guy hides in the back of his car when he gets in his car, and then he goes, "Sleepy time, motherfucker," covers him in a chloroform form. That one I liked better, oddly enough. I would use that in videos if I could. It's right up there with "Surprise, motherfucker" from Dexter. But, yeah, apart from that, it's just a fun movie. I really enjoyed it for what it was. It's a fun action movie. It has a surprisingly good script. It has Schwarzenegger and Stallone doing what they do. It has an awesome villain. If you're a fan of action movies, I would actually recommend this movie. I did really enjoy it, and I would watch it on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. So, that's all I got. Oh, trailers. Even though I'm alone, I still gotta talk about trailers. So, and as always, I am smart enough to write them down. So, let's see what we have here today. Today, we have Ender's Game. You got a new trailer for Ender's Game this time. This was different from the one we got last week at Camera 12, because I'm in Morgan Hill right now, and the theater here tends to keep more up to date with their trailers, thank God. So I actually got some new trailers for this. So we got Ender's Game, which this trailer made the movie look much more appealing than the one I saw before because it focuses much more on the strategic element of the movie with kind of like how the kid is going to strategize or what he's going to do or what like the tactical advantage he's going to take advantage of that apparently no one else can do. So that was kind of fun, and it makes me more hopeful for the movie, although I still don't know why Ben Kingsley has that weird face tattoo thing going on. And why Harrison Ford looks like he'd rather be somewhere else. But I guess it's Harrison Ford these days. Then I got the new trailer for Thor 2: The Dark World. And I'm looking forward to that movie because if you watch my top 6 characters of 2012, you know I loved Tom Hiddleston as Loki. I loved him in the first Thor. I loved him in the second Thor. And I think he's going to be great in the third Thor. Not the second Thor. I think he was great in the Avengers. He was great. I think he's going to be great in this movie too. Granted, I'm kind of worried that this movie is going to become all about Loki and less about Thor. Which you can argue the first movie was actually more about Loki than Thor. But I'm almost afraid that they're going to use the fact that Loki's become like insanely popular after the release of Thor and the Avengers. That they're going to kind of use that to like focus more on him. Which could take away from the actual title character, kind of pulling a Dark Knight with the Joker. But overall, looks like fun, and I like the inclusion of what was that? The stone creatures that the Hulk fights on Planet Hulk. I forget the species name. I think it's like Grok or something like that. But I like the inclusion of that. I like that it seems to be exploring more of the fantasy elements, and I'm curious. They haven't shown much of the main villain, which kind of worries me. So it's like, do they not trust the strength of the main actor enough? Is it not a strong enough character? I don't know. Reviews have already been coming in for this movie, and they've been genuinely positive. Like, the majority seems to be positive. So, again, my hopes are high. And then we got The Counselor, which I don't know much about what the trailer shows. From what I've heard on the internet about this movie, this sounds like this movie's going to be fucking insane. In a good way or bad way, that's yet to be determined. But I just know that apparently, and I'm not making this up, if you haven't heard this already, there's a scene where Cameron Diaz has sex with a car. Not on a car, with a car. It's almost worth seeing just to see what that looks like. I don't fucking know what to expect from this other than that it's gonna be a trip. So, I gonna have to see it because, well, it also has an A-list cast, Penelope Cruz and Cameron Diaz and Brad Pitt and Javier Bardem. I think it's his name, Bender. I know I'm close at least. And Michael Fassbender, who I love Michael Fassbender. I think he's a great actor, so I'm pretty much go see anything he's in, regardless of whether or not it's shit. So, that'll be interesting to see whenever that comes out. I think it's in a couple weeks. But, and then we have Hunger Games 2. Now, I actually liked the first Hunger Games. I thought it was granted, it ripped off Running Man, but I only found out about that after I saw the movie. But, it's, oddly enough, an Arnold Schwarzenegger film. But, I don't know how the sequel's gonna play out. I mean, I like that it's covering darker material for a younger audience. And I love Jennifer Lawrence. I think she's great. I don't know how the story is gonna play out. Like, the last movie, a lot of what was done in the first movie was very much kind of social commentary about just... I mean, of course you have all the suppression and all that stuff. And I think that the parts are most interesting were like the rich people with their just ridiculous outfits that they considered fashion, and just all the ideal mentality of what's right and what's not. And I like, and of course that what we find entertaining and what we want to see. I don't know if that makes any sense. I can have a whole discussion about it later if I really cared enough, which I don't. But my point is, I liked the first movie because of the somewhat clever social commentary they had going on there. I don't know how much that's going to come into play for the sequel. I have a feeling it's going to be much more heavy-handed, and I'm running out of battery space, so I got to make this fast. I lost track of my train of thought. It feels much more heavy-handed. It's focused more on in the rebellion and the repression and all that stuff. And I don't know. I don't know what this one's going to turn out. I don't know if it's going to be absolute shit. I know people aren't big fans of the original movie, the books, the sequel books. I know it has all that stupid Twilight crap that everyone, like, all the tweens seem to like. Although Twilight, thank God, has finally disappeared. I'm running out of camera time, so I gotta go. So that's my opinion. Take it as you will, and I'll see you all later this week with, we got Carrie tomorrow and Machete Kills on Friday. So look out for those, and I'll see you all later.